Hi, my name is Courtney Terry, and this is Arts Alive. My guest today is Ken Trox, who designer, artist, and you're one brand new artist that will be featured on the Arts Harvest Studio Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a artist with a maker problem, I guess you'd say.
Okay.
Well, designer. I hate the word artist for me because I've been a designer for 30-something years, and basically I've toyed from one side of the fence to the other. I've done graphic design, web design, animation, things like that, illustration. So I'm all over the place.
Sure.
And now I've got a maker problem, so I'm making these things. So
sounds like a problem to have.
Yeah.
How did this problem start for you?
Oh, it started so long ago. And actually, when people ask me about the whole artist thing and being part of the Art Harvest Tour, I'm like, yeah, I'm not exactly sure how this it just seems so random. But then after some self-reflection on this, I was like, yeah, okay, so I started with auto body during school, and I've been drawing in my entire life, but started off in high school with auto body, soon abandoned that, then went off to the Army, came back, did graphic design forever and a day, worked for Hasbro, making toys and all kinds of fun stuff. And then I was working for a home environments company where we made lights and fans, Homes Group, if you know those products. Mm-hmm. So heaters, fans, humidifiers, and things like that. So came back out here to go to school for industrial design, and then I got myself a little laser cutter and started playing. And the next thing, you know, turned on to these night markets and things like that. And from there, started making things, and they just sort of rolled down a path. And lighting the way, I guess, is the little Frank Lloyd Wright style lights, you know.
Well done.
So, yeah, I just kind of, and then after realizing this, I'm like, oh, well, I've done lights, I've done games, because I make cribbage boards as well. But that's my fun side of life, and then the serious side is in this. And then my design is, I guess, my bliss. I don't know. I just that's the sort of the passion that just keeps running through, and then I make things, and I'm like, I like to touch things. So, you know, as a designer, you're working through computers, CAD programming, and things like that, and you shut off the box, and it all disappears. So,
right.
So being able to touch this after the day is all said and done is how this happened. So there you go.
Wow, thank you.
That's
for
a story.
The journey down the path.
I'm sticking to it. No.
Excellent. You mentioned night markets?
Yeah.
What?
So I've done some night markets,
cool.
Vancouver night markets. I've done some local up in Portland, which was the Woodlawn Market. But
okay, and those are arts markets or craft markets?
Yes, they're craft markets. The Woodlawn was a craft market, and Vancouver night market's also a night craft market, which has now gone away, but now it's my friend that ran that, and she was also an industrial designer, and she's now running Pop Local on the Vancouver waterfront, which is all locally artist-made stuff. So.
Oh, rad.
So, yeah, got stuff in her store, so that's kind of a cool place to find me as well.
Yeah, well, and I imagine at the night market, everyone has to wear cloaks and speak with passwords, and...
Yeah, I kind of miss the whole, you know, because you get to experience from people, and it's like you can talk to them. It's kind of like a focus group without actually having to pay for a focus group. It's like, what do you think of this? And they're like, well, kill that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's...
So, you know, you get both sides, and maybe it's because I wear a Patriots jersey when I go to these things, so I'm just automatically pushing people's buttons, but, you know.
Potentially, for those that have strong feelings about the sportsing.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to watch how that happens.
Yeah, well, and you're on the West Coast, too, and that's a not West Coast thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm from the East Coast, so, you know, most of my life is spent there.
Okay, which part of the East Coast?
I'm from Massachusetts.
Okay.
So, yeah, right off Plymouth there, you know, get off the Mayflower, and 300, 400 years later now. Jeez.
Here you are. In Oregon.
In Oregon.
And that's why. And so, how did you make your way? Which part of the?
My brother's lived in Eugene for 30-something years, and I got divorced, and I was like, I like visiting him. So I was just like, yeah. Found a new love and brought her out here and said, do you want to stay out here? She came. I still can't believe that happened. I am the luckiest guy in the world for that. But yeah, so it's been a wonderful venture since we moved here, and except that COVID thing. It's just kind of, nobody talks about that.
At least not in this 15-minute interview.
How much time do we have now?
And so, where do you have your studio out of your home that you? Well, is it a studio? Is it a workshop? I want to use the right.
Yeah, it started as a studio in my garage. That developed into a 20 by 10 shed. That developed into 2 more tents, 20 by 10, which now have a shop. And my shop is actually Sherman Street, right down the street from the Cultural Center in Newburgh.
Oh, okay.
So it's right at the corner of Sherman and Main Street. Super easy to get to, and. Through Art Harvest Tour, obviously, it'll be open, and then after that, I'll be having it open during the daytime for people to walk in. It's a working studio, so I'm in there making things like this, which I sell on my website, and I also sell through Etsy, so it's just, boom.
Yeah.
It's about to get gangbusters, yeah.
I can see that. Well, and I guess, so a few questions about what is the really cool shiny stuff that's behind
So that's
here?
a mica material.
Okay.
So basically it's, mica rock and mixed with resins, and you have this beautiful amber coral. It's like the Tiffany lamps, the old Tiffany lamps, the hard tops there with the amber piece. So this thing glows up nice and warm, has an Edison bulb in there, so it's got a super warm yellow homey feeling. And
Oh, wow.
so it started with this little guy, and somebody bought a set for me, and they're like, we love these things, but we need to return them. And I was like, what? I was like, they need to be bigger. So that brought to that guy back behind me. I'm not going to, I guess I can't reach down to the, there we go. Panning out, there's
Right
that guy
there.
right there. Turn to that, and that's the bedside table, and this is for nice desk lamp. And
Yeah.
then it just keeps getting bigger.
I see that.
And now I've got a custom request for a 6-foot version, so it just keeps growing. Eventually, I'm going to build a
Literally.
skyscraper light, which I'm actually down with that. So,
Well, and I mean, we can't, there's so many different, not moving, but moving parts within, and so how, I'm just looking, it's just so cool, like each of, like the details with all of the little pieces, and you said you had a fancy
yeah, there's a
lasers?
laser,
Is it
laser
lasers?
cutter that cuts
Okay.
out the screens, and so that makes this cutting out this part here, easy enough for managing for custom designs, and I can make anything I want as far as that shaping goes. So, and then the rest of it's back down to traditional carpentry and fine finish work. And I've had people call me a woodworker, and I'm like, please, don't insult woodworkers like that. They are so much better than I am. I am a designer with a making problem. So I definitely want to make sure that,
It's good that you're just identifying yourself from the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, and do you get fancy with like the types of wood that you use?
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
Like this is walnut and mahogany, but I use jatoba and maples and oaks. And pretty much if it comes down to whatever fits people's homes, like I've got all this zebra wood in here, can you make something with zebra wood? So that's what it comes down to. It's just custom requests. It's all custom.
And so you've been able, so you, I'm assuming if you made a set, they would be matching, but is each piece a little bit different, or do you like, the 3 pieces we have here are all different?
I pretty much make them exactly the same, except one might have a smile inside, or some other sort of Easter egg in there for me to know the difference. But no, no, I mean they're mostly
Like
the
a
same. But I
golden
mean,
ticket in there?
but it does come down to like the customers wanting, it's an LED bulb in the top, so a shine down, or maybe it's the LED in the bottom shining up. And now I'm getting into. For a part of our Harvest Tour, I'm coming up with a bunch of new products called Celbrosa. Basically, it's what lies beneath. So what you see on the surface is one sort of thing that's happening, and then underneath there'll be other effects that are happening. So when the light turns on, what you saw is a white screen, then becomes like colorful and whatever happening on the inside. So
Oh, dang. That sounds really complicated.
Yeah.
For non-designers.
It's not David Copperfield.
Okay.
I mean, it's, you know, but there is sort of like, oh, then I didn't expect that to be there or not be there or whatever that might be.
And so does a lot of your design happen on your computer? And that's maybe where you start? Because if I know so much about how lasers work. Do you?
Do you?
No. So it's
Can you help me?
Yeah. Well, public librarian, but not lasers.
You can get me resources. I like that.
We'll try our best. And so it's you design it on a computer program, and then that sends the message to the laser. Or are you freehanding it, or?
Well, some things one of the first things I did, you know, in the sense of laser elements, was little tea lights, and it was a Japanese tea light, and I hand drew like on a piece of wood like all four sides of it, and then I scanned it with my phone and brought it in the computer, and then digitized all my hand sketching. So there's levels of that I do, and then especially with the cribbage boards, like people ask me all kinds of crazy weird things. Can you put my dog there, like dancing on a tree, you know? So there's other sort of things like that, and so there's a combined element of illustration as well as machinery. But there's whichever the way wind blows is how I'm going today. I'm supposed to be structured and all that good stuff for business, but the
like
artist.
A true designer.
That's where the artist comes into play.
Yes, there. On the days I can be very difficult, I'm an artist. But
difficult meat, never.
Well, and that's exciting that you'll be doing it out of your own shop, so then folks can kind of see. And so the Art Harvest Tour it's the first 2 weekends in October, which is the 6th, 7th, 8th, and the
7 days later.
Yeah. The math is there. 13th, 14th, 15th.
Good.
So those first 2
At least
weekends in
somebody
October.
knows what they are.
Yes.
I was just told to show up. So
Yeah, thank you. I wrote it on my hand, and I still didn't get it. But now we know that folks will be able to find, and so there'll be the lamps, there'll be cribbage boards, and then anything else you're just.
Yeah, there's random things. I have space monkeys in my little store, which was basically it was a twist of the jar of monkeys, the barrel monkeys.
Oh yeah, okay.
Barrel monkeys, little wooden toy.
Yeah.
I basically made them into space monkeys, and I gave them a little rocket in honor of the 50th anniversary of the Apollo landing. So I've got sort of things like that, and Christmas ornaments, and so there's small token type things, and then there's obviously large, fine, art pieces for people to enjoy.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like your previous experience making games and things is still very much part of what you do now.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like, can you make me X? Challenge accepted. I don't know.
I feel like that's a designer's dream. Maybe a few parameters would be nice.
Yeah, I've had a few designers' dreams, like working for Hasbro, making Star Wars and Transformers and G.I. Joe toys, and actually getting paid to play with the things and pose them and do all the things that I used to do. It was just crazy. Then there was Flugtag in 2015, the Red Bull event, where you launch an airplane into the river.
Yes.
So I got to build a plane and launch that into the river. It was one of the last. And it went 27 feet.
Okay. How does that stack up against?
I think we came in fifth.
Okay.
It came in fifth, but there was somebody in front of us. They engineered this carbon fiber, $4,000 piece of plane, and it went 15 feet. It just went straight off and just fell straight in. I was at least kind of flew a little bit before it just fell apart. But
Success.
It was awesome stuff. It's fun to do what I do. I just get to do cool shit. Cool stuff.
It's cool stuff all the time.
That's my life.
Wonderful. Well, and people will be able to peek in on your life. Art Harvest Tour in the first 2 weekends. And again, your studio, you said it was located at Sherman in Maine, right by. And they can also look for the big yellow Art Harvest signs. Yep. I hope they're still yellow.
So right around the corner from Anam Karam or whatever that is, there's a little winery right there, and then down the street from Studio 306. So there'll be 8 artists in a block radius, so people can just walk around and
do the whole tour.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ken, thank you so much for your time today. This has been really great and so cool seeing your designs, and I really appreciate
I
you coming in.
appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about my stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm surprised I didn't clam up.
I know, nice work. This is Courtney Terry, and this has been Arts Alive.